Dangerous Love, Book 4 of the Fitzgerald Family, by E.B. Walters. Narrated by Valerie Gilbert. Chapter 1. Mrs. Riggins wants to see you. Faith Fitzgerald looked up and frowned. She hadn't heard the salesgirl knock or open her office door. But then and again, when she had her nose in fashion sketches or fabric colors, nothing penetrated her artistic fog. "Thanks, Molly." Faith glanced at her watch and sighed. 11 o'clock. There was no way she could drive to Barbara Riggins' home and make it back for her next appointment. Regardless of the fact that she'd been at Barbara's place 2 days ago to make the necessary adjustments on her gown, Faith had to go. Barbara was the wife of a renowned producer and a patron of Falasha, Faith's clothing line. Without Barbara, Faith would not have landed the contracts to design costumes for 2 major film productions in the past 3 years, or become the designer for a bevy of women whose creative writing produced hit movies and television sitcoms. Molly still hovered near the door, Faith noted. "Call Mrs. Ferreira and cancel her fitting," Faith said. "I had her down for the noon slot. Tell her I have a family emergency." Mira Ferreira would have a fit if she knew Faith switched her fitting because of another customer. "Change it to 4, or if she prefers later, I'll be available in the evening," which would mean another long drive to Malibu. She grabbed her car keys from the drawer. "The drive to and from Barbara's place, not to mention the consult time, is going to screw up my schedule big time." "Shh! Not so loud," Molly whispered, pressing a finger to her lips. "I meant to say, Barbara's in the next room. I left her pacing the floor, ready to commit mayhem. She even refused refreshments. She demands to see you." That didn't sound good. Barbara hadn't visited the Falasha showroom since the first time Faith's Auntie Estelle introduced them 4 years ago. Faith hurried around her desk to a side door and pushed it open. The private room she entered had an ambiance guaranteed to make any customer feel appreciated. White carpeting and matching plush chairs, antique tables with assortment of drinks, and soft, soothing music in the background. From Barbara's narrowed hazel eyes, the effect wasn't working. Barbara sat on the edge of the chair with her arms crossed and lush lips scrunched up in a pout made famous during her years as a talk show host. Her tennis outfit rode high to reveal toned legs and cellulite-free tanned thighs. Despite the attire, her makeup was impeccable, and her professionally styled black tresses tumbled down her shoulders. "Barbara, what a wonderful surprise! What can I do for you?" The diva got to her feet, her hazel eyes flashing, though not a single crease marred the Botox-smooth perfection of her face. "I'd like to take another look at my gown," she said in a frosty tone. "It's not ready yet, but I've sent the spec sheet with the adjustments to my pattern maker. As soon as I get the pattern back, I'll start the—" "Show me the one I tried on a few days ago." "Of course." Faith disappeared inside the sewing room, where 3 seamstresses looked at her with questioning eyes. She shook her head, grabbed the mannequin with the prototype of the gown, and left the room. "What's this about?" she asked Barbara when she rejoined her. "The design," Barbara answered, walking around the mock-up muslin gown draped on a mannequin. "It's exactly the same." Faith shook her head, not understanding. "Of course it's the same one, but this is just the toile. I'll use the real fabric once I get the pattern back." "No, no, no. I mean, Mimi has the exact same dress." She slanted Faith a hard look. "I was at her house this morning for a game of tennis, and she invited me to see the dress she plans to wear to the Directors Guild Awards." Barbara tugged at the toile, almost tipping over the mannequin. "Her husband was also nominated, just like my Sammy. She showed me this exact dress, the dress you designed for me." She turned and glared at Faith. "Are you selling your designs? Recycling old ones?" Faith's stomach had dipped when Barbara said exact same design. Now it churned. "I would never use an old design to create a gown for any of my customers, Barbara. I study fashion trends and seasonal colors and come up with fresh ideas every time you ask me to make something for you. I do not sell my creations either." Do you know who made her outfit? Barbara's eyes narrowed. Why? It might explain what happened. Please. Who designed it? DHS. The floor tilted under Faith. Dublin House of Styles, that bastard. That no-good thieving son of a bitch. She didn't know how he did it, but once again, Sean O'Neill had stolen what belonged to her and passed it off as his. Are you okay, Faith? You look like you've seen a ghost. She gripped Faith's arm and led her to a chair. What's going on? How can you have the same design as DHS? Faith shook her head. How could she explain about her past relationship with that visionless, backstabbing bastard? She looked up at Barbara's perfectly made-up face. Would she understand about broken promises and shattered dreams, humiliation and the vow to prove wrong those who hadn't believed her? I did not steal his designs. I never said you did. However, we have a problem. She took the chair across from Faith's, concern in her eyes. The award ceremony is a month away, and I need a dress. I can't wear what I wore to the Golden Globes or other awards. I've paid my dues in this business, and I absolutely refuse to squeeze this. She waved a hand to indicate her curvaceous body. Fabulousness into a size 0 couture made from matchstick bodies. I need one of your creations. She reached forward and gripped Faith's hands. Only you know how to flatter my body, dear. Only you understand that a woman can have curves and still wear couture. Can you do this? Faith struggled to separate what she just learned from what Barbara was demanding of her. Did she have the time to finish the dress on such short notice? 2 more for clients, all Barbara's friends, were going to the same award show and expected their unique gowns completed. But what if Sean had gotten hold of their designs, too? Another idea occurred to her, snatching her breath like a sucker punch. What if he had seen her fall collection for Fashion Week? Her show would be a disaster. No one would believe the designs were hers, just like no one did 5 years ago. Only this time it would not be limited to DHS. Panic torpedoed through her. What was she going to do? Faith! Barbara called out in a sharp tone. Faith blinked, reined in the panic, and forced herself to focus on her client, her very important and influential client. If she had to sew every day and night, pay her seamstresses fat bonuses to finish new gowns, she'd make this happen. I'll stop by your place tomorrow night with new designs and fabric selections. Barbara beamed. That's what I wanted to hear. Now about this DHS mess, I'll get to the bottom of it. She refused to let that bastard screw her over again. Good. Barbara stood, clasped her purse under her arm, and started for the door.